Welcome back to the channel, boys. Fablinski's coming at your neck with its Eyes of Tomorrow PvE build. I luckily just got this thing to drop. I'm so happy, so thankful to the RNG gods. I was finally able to get Eyes of Tomorrow, which means that I'm also a descendant now. So all my fellow descendants, let's gather, let's rejoice in our happiness, or is it sadness? I don't even know what it is, but we're descendant now. Let's get it. But I got Eyes of Tomorrow, so I figured I would make a build around it. So let's go ahead and break it down. So I'm on Warlock, and obviously I'm on my Shade Binder. It's my favorite subclass. Here's my setup. Of course, we're using the Dust Field Grenades. We got our two aspects, and then these are the fragments I'm using. I'm using Whisper of Durance, I'm using Whisper of Hedrons, Whisper of Fissures, and Whisper of Refractions. This is probably my favorite loadout, or is it a loadout? I guess my fragment setup right here, because I get my class ability back. The stasis does more damage, so my melee does more damage pretty much. I get a weapon damage buff, and my abilities last longer, and it gives me plus 10 strength and then minus 10 strength. So these two kind of negate each other, which is allowing me to get that 100 strength and 100 recovery. So at the time of making this video, I had no idea the type of buff that rocket launchers were going to get in season 13. I know that Bungie was thinking of doing something, but they haven't said what specifically. So they just released a TWAB and they stated what exactly they're doing in season 13. So it says right here, rocket launchers have fallen behind other heavy weapons in most measures of effectiveness. We're pushing them more into a burst damage role. Increase rocket launcher damage by 30%. Exotic rocket launchers have been adjusted individually and are affected by this change to different degrees, aka Salway, Eyes of Tomorrow, and Warcliff don't just absolutely decimate everything. What's probably going to happen is that they're going to make it so that way the overall damage is buffed by 30% as opposed to each individual rocket, if that's how the damage buff is applied. Because if each individual rocket of Eyes of Tomorrow got a 30% damage buff, that would just be insane. Paired with the buffs to reserves from last season, we're hoping you'll explode many more things in season 13. So keep this in mind while watching this video. This build is going to be that much better at the start of season 13, which is about 10 or 9 days at the time of recording this video. As for my loadout, the way I have my mods set up, my ammo finders, I have some flexibility, so if I need to run a sniper here or whatever, I can. But right now I'm using the Heritage Shotgun. I got a 7 Seraph SMG with Ambitious Assassin Dragonfly. It's a really fun SMG to use in my opinion. I love this thing. And of course we got that bad boy Eyes of Tomorrow. In case you guys don't know the perk, it says this weapon is capable of tracking and firing at multiple targets simultaneously. And right here, Adaptive Ordnance, this is what gives it its huge damage buff. Killing 4 more combatants in a single volley increases the damage of the next volley. And I don't think you need to use Eyes of Tomorrow. Maybe it's bugged, maybe it's glitched, I'm not too sure. But as long as you have it on, and if I get 4 kills with my SMG, then I get Adaptive Ordnance procced on Eyes of Tomorrow. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to work, but that's how it's working right now. So you don't have to necessarily use the ammo to then make your next ammo do more damage. As long as you just have it on, you're getting kills, it'll proc Adaptive Ordnance. As for my stats, we got 33 mobility, we got 29 resilience, we got 101 recovery. I love having 100 recovery on the Warlock. My health comes back faster and my rift comes back faster, which is nice. We got 38 discipline, we got 37 intellect, and we got 102 strength, meaning that my melee is on a 43-second cooldown. I have on claws, so I'm gonna have 2 of these charging, means I can use one. The second one's gonna be charging in the background, and I love that. So let's go ahead and start with that helmet. We got a minor strength mod, we got shotgun ammo finder, we got rocket launcher ammo finder, and then we got taking charge. By picking up an orb of power, I become charged with light. Nothing too crazy here, pretty simple. Just got my ammo finders and taking charge. And let's move on to our gauntlets, which happen to also be our exotic piece of choice. Honestly, you can use whatever exotic with this build. I just love using claws, plus I have a really good roll. I mean, look at this, I have 31 recovery, and I'm not even using a recovery mod. This is just a really cracked piece of claws. I love it so much. But the armor perk is pretty simple on it. You just get an additional melee charge, which I think is really good for the Shade Binder. Being able to have 2 penumbral blasts is just so powerful because you can freeze them. You just freeze them, get with weapons of Hedrons, or just immobilize them, get the safety. It's really powerful. As for our mods, we're using a strength mod. We got anti-barrier SMG because I like taking this build into the Nightfall, any of my builds into the Nightfall really. We got submachine gun loader, and then we got global reach, so that way my war mines affect a greater distance. This is pretty much a must-have for any type of war mine build, because other than that, if you're trying to blow up the war mines, you're not going to have nearly as good of a radius if you don't have this on. So this is a must-have. Plus, there's only 1 energy slot, so this is a really good mod to have on for any time, because you can blow up someone else's war mine and it still has global reach on. It'll do more damage in a farther distance. On my chest piece, we're using another minor strength mod. We got concussive dampener, we got rocket launcher reserves, and we got swift charge. Become charged with light by rapidly defeating combatants with pulse rifles, sidearms, or SMGs. I am using an SMG, so I want to use this to be able to get my stacks up as quickly as possible so I can use some of my other mods I have on. On my legs, we're using a minor recovery mod. We got rocket launcher scavenger, We got traction because it's 0 and I had an open mod slot, so I figured I would just throw it on. And then we got Argent Ordnance. While charged with light, readying or firing a rocket grants it increased damage and reload speed. Damaging a combatant with a rocket consumes 1 stack of charged with light. So if you have Argent Ordnance on, I think it says like Godslayer heads or Godslayer warheads or something like that when it's in game. But if you have this on and then you have Adaptive Ordnance on from Eyes of Tomorrow, I'm pretty sure they stack and you can do some crazy damage. Now the little safety net that you have here is it's not always easy to keep Adaptive Ordnance procced, so being able to have the Godslayer heads or Argent Ordnance on after you use your Adaptive Ordnance shot, it's pretty nice. You're going to still do some decent damage, although it's not going to be as much damage as if you're using Adaptive Ordnance and Godslayer heads. So keep that in mind, but it's a little bit of safety net. You're going to be able to always do a little bit of bonus damage with Eyes of Tomorrow. And on my Warlock Bond, we're using a minor strength mod. We got double bomber mod, so whenever I use my class ability, my Rift, I get a nice chunk of grenade energy. I do have pretty low discipline with this build. Actually, we can look at it right here. We got 38 discipline with this build, so being able to have double bomber mods is pretty nice. And then we got supercharged, so I can have a maximum of 4 stacks with charge of light, up from 2. So now I can use my Eyes of Tomorrow pretty frequently. I can just use them to clear out ads if there's a lot of them far away, or any type of like shrieker. I think this week there's a lot of shriekers in the Nightfall. Plus if there's like an unstop, I don't have a sniper on, so this is kind of like my sniper being able to use my Eyes of Tomorrow. Plus being able to have the Godslayer heads and Adaptive Ordnance, I'm going to be able to do bonus damage pretty much all the time with Eyes of Tomorrow. And here is my Warlock Fashion. I kind of went with a different look this time. I never really used this ornament before, like the chest piece and legs right here, but it looks kind of nice with this. You know, I like the setup. It's black, the white sticks out a lot. Plus I kind of look like some kind of like assassin robot type of thing, like exoscience robot. I don't even know, but I think it looks really good. The only thing that doesn't like match with it is the claws, but who cares? Claws are just sick anyway. But if you guys like it, shades will be in the description below. Now the first thing I have to say about Eyes of Tomorrow is that it is extremely fun to use. It's so satisfying when you shoot the rockets. They kind of like suspend in air for a second and then they just track like crazy, like they take off and then they all collide on the one target. Or if you're trying to just clear ads, it's like a freaking salvo of grenades coming down and just destroying your enemies. It's so satisfying to use. It's a lot of fun and it sounds cool, right? But when it comes to the terms of damage, now if you get all the stars to align, you have Adaptive Ordnance, you have the Godslayer heads, you can do some pretty crazy damage. But the only thing is that that's if you get all the stars to align. So let's say that maybe you're not able to proc Adaptive Ordnance, or if you're not charged with light, you don't have the Godslayer heads. Or let's just say that you might accidentally lock onto an ad behind the boss that you're trying to kill. Then you're gonna miss out on 1 or 2 rockets that are supposed to hit the boss, but they're going to hit the other target instead. So there's a couple of factors that you gotta factor into when using this. But I think one of the main things that I really liked about using this rocket launcher is that you are safe. You're always safe when using it because all you gotta do is pop out of cover, lock onto the target you want to kill, pop back in cover and shoot the rocket straight up into the air, and it'll literally find the target. Like, you don't have to have line of sight. And I think that's a really important thing that you got to keep in mind when using this rocket launcher, is the fact that you don't have to put yourself in danger in order to do damage. It's the same thing with Anarchy, right? All you gotta do with Anarchy is tag the target once or twice, run back in cover, or snipe him from a far distance, and you're safe. And I think that being safe, and especially in something like GMs or 1280 Nightfalls, is extremely important. Another thing that I really like about Eyes of Tomorrow, and honestly just this whole build in general, is that I have really good ad clear. I have the War Mines from the 7 Sarah SMG, plus I have Eyes of Tomorrow. You can lock onto, I think, 4 targets with it. So if you lock onto those 4 targets, and let's say it's just 4 out of a big group of ads, you're just going to annihilate everything right there. And if you get 4 more kills, boom, you have Adaptive Ordnance proc, and then you have your next shot is going to do even more damage. And then the only thing that I'm missing from this build that would make it even better is Wrath of Rasputin. Now what Wrath of Rasputin allows you to do is generate War Mine cells off solar explosive damage. So if I was to have that mount on, and being that Eyes of Tomorrow is solar and it does explosive damage, you can already see what's going to happen. You can create War Mine cells from the explosive damage that Eyes of Tomorrow is going to do. Then you can use your 7 Seraph or a sniper, whatever, snipe that War Mine cell and do even more ad clear. So if I have Wrath of Rasputin on this build, it would just be insane. But the fact that we don't, you know, we gotta do what we gotta do when we don't have it. Hopefully Banshee sells it again. I really hope he does, because I will be copying that immediately. But for right now, we just got global reach, so it's pretty good as is. Now, I believe that Bungie is going to be looking at rocket launchers rather soon, maybe tweaking them in some way. I'm not too sure how, but if they were to tweak them, give them, let's say, 2 rockets in a clip as opposed to just 1, I think that Eyes of Tomorrow would be even better. It'd be so much better than it is, because I think that's the only thing maybe holding it back a little bit, is the fact that just rocket launchers as a whole aren't that good. You know, they just kind of suck in general. Rocket launchers just kind of suck. So Eyes of Tomorrow is probably the best rocket launcher, but again, it's a limiting factor because it's still a rocket launcher and it's not that great. So if they were to buff it like 2 in a clip, or however they want to do it, if it just made it better somehow, then Rise of Tomorrow would be amazing. But for right now, we're at the top of what is the rocket launcher food chain, and it's not that great, right? So we're making the best out of it. It's still a really fun build. Rise of Tomorrow is still really good, although it's a rocket launcher. So if you have it, I recommend trying this build. Try it out. It's a lot of fun. You're going to enjoy seeing all these ads blow up, and you can do some pretty good boss damage when all the stars align. So give this build a try and let me know what you guys think. But if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. It truly helps me out a lot. You can also check out my other videos. Links are in the description below. I have a lot of crazy builds, so go ahead and check that out. And you might as well find my social media at Twitter and Instagram, both at @fat_balloonskis. But with all that being said, deuces.